Hello. Welcome back. If you're returning, welcome for the first time. If you're new, my name is Keith. I'm your meditation teacher here on this channel. And this channel is called Meditation Breaks. We're taking a little break to do some meditation. So, Jessica, welcome. I'm glad you're here. This is a really good class for first timers. We're gonna do some cool stuff. So if you are new, we kind of follow a similar cadence each week, but each week we explore a different topic with regards to meditation. My goal is to kind of show the breadth of what meditation can do, because everyone gravitates to different things, right? Some of us are this type of learner, which we'll talk about today. Some of us are this type of learner. Some of us are here for anxiety. Others are here maybe for like a self-image or just to kind of de-stress a little bit, right? So regardless of why you're here, we're going to start with a little introduction to what meditation is. Like, what does that even mean? We hear this word a lot. It's kind of buzzwordy, right? Mindfulness meditation. So we'll talk about what that means and how meditation works, why bother. Yeah? You're busy. You have to pick and choose of the activities you do. So we're going to see if this could be a good one. And then we'll do a short little meditation together, just to kind of get everyone feeling comfy about how you go about meditating. And then we'll get into our topic. So that's kind of the cadence every week. And our topic this week, Riley brought up a really interesting topic suggestion last week that got me thinking about some of the hurdles that we might come across when trying to kind of like stay present or, meditate regularly. And a lot of it has to do with finding the kind of meditation that works for you. So we're going to explore that today. And so we're going to be doing a total of 3 short meditations that all have a little bit of different variation to them. We'll see which one connects with you the best, right? Cool. Yeah, Riley, email me any questions you have. So if you do have any questions, you can email me like Riley's going to do. I'll give you my email towards the end of the session, or you can, if you want them answered immediately, you can just type them in the chat here. You don't need to wait for me to stop. You can just type your question and I'll answer it as soon as I see it, which hopefully will be prompt. I try to be good about that. Hey, Lisa. Okay, so we're going to get started by getting back to basics. What is meditation, right? So maybe this is your first time here. You're like, I heard it's good. I've heard good things. People say it's good. Whoa, maybe I should do it. So what is meditation? Generally, we come to, Heather, I did. I'm behind. Have you seen a pattern here? I'm always behind. I'm going to go through, catch up on my emails today and tomorrow. Sorry for the hold up. So when we think about meditation, kind of the word I think that pops into most people's head is relaxing, right? We want to de-stress, be more calm, more peaceful, happier, whatnot. And meditation is often like associated with that for good reason. It's a really kind of interesting byproduct of the practice of meditation. But meditation doesn't like create relaxation or something like that. What it does, meditation is a technique that helps you train your mind to become familiar with things. Weird. But we don't really think about familiarizing our mind with things, but your mind is very familiar with many things. And the more familiar you become with things, what happens? Right? They come more naturally to you, right? So if you think about something like walking, right? You don't really have to think too hard about walking these days, but back when you were a little kid trying to learn how to walk, that was tough. It didn't look very graceful back then. but a little bit of practice, right? Each day, starting to build upon the mechanics, both mental and physical. And, eventually you're walking, and now you don't even have to think about it, right? Same thing with anything you've learned, driving, tying a shoe, anything. The kind of superpower that we have is familiarity. This word familiarity is kind of like our superpower. The more familiar we are with something, the less effort we have to put into it kind of coming to be. And the same is true for mental mind states. So in terms of relaxation or peacefulness, mindfulness and meditation, they're not creating peacefulness, but they're teaching you to become like so familiar with the relaxed version of you that version of you starts to pop up without so much effort. Right? You might be like, I don't know if I have a relaxed version of me. Yeah, you do. It's in there. You know it. If you think, hard and you're honest with yourself, do I do any breath work? Yes, Jessica, we're going to do a lot of breath work today. So you might be thinking, yeah, I'm not really a relaxed person at all, but we all have times that we're relaxed. Right. And our goal is to become familiar with that version of ourselves, so we don't have to try so hard for it to be the main version of ourselves. All right. It's going to kind of be our default. So this is our superpower, familiarity, but it's also kind of our kryptonite, right? So if you think about anger, right? We don't have to try to get angry. Somebody says something to us, we're perfectly fine. Somebody says something to us, and we're angry instantaneously. We don't have to stop our day and try to get angry. Whereas patience, we do. So what we're seeing here is that our mind has had a lot more practice getting annoyed at things, and so it just kind of knows what to do. It's like, yep, I'm going to get annoyed. Patience hasn't had as much practice, and so our mind does what it's familiar doing. So really what we're after with meditation is giving you choice over what you want to become familiar with. What do you want your kind of default you to be able to dictate where your mind is, where your thoughts are moment to moment, instead of kind of being at the mercy of whatever your mind wants to do. Oh, worry about work. Oh, worry about that thing somebody said to you. That's kind of how we feel right now. We're being pulled. And so we're gonna kind of rein in our mind a little bit, so to speak. This is all well and good. How do we go about doing this? Well, if you've ever done a meditation class or heard about it, you probably have heard of breathing meditation. Jessica just brought up breath work. So breathing meditation is extremely common as a starting point for a lot of reasons. One of the best is you always have your breath with you. Right. So, sometimes we can I only am relaxed when I'm by the lake. I don't know. I'm just picking something, but you're not always going to be by the lake. Right. Now your breath always with you. Right. So if you are able to start to make this connection between breathing and relaxing, well, that's a really good tool that travels well with you, right? You can go wherever you are. That's fantastic. Right? So we are going to start with doing some breathing meditation today. And more formally, it's called single-pointed concentration. Fancy. All it means is we're focusing on one thing, which is not multitasking, right? It's the antithesis of multitasking, which is tough for us because, again, our mind gravitates towards what it's familiar with. And we are very familiar with multitasking. We do it all the time. Even when we think we're not, I don't know, you're watching this, you take a sip of water while you're listening to me, you're multitasking. And so our mind has had so much practice multitasking that when we try to do something like meditation, sometimes our mind might be like, what's going on? What are you doing? What are you doing here? But the beauty of single-pointed concentration or focusing on one thing or being present, if you want to be more vague about it, is that we are so focused on one thing that there's no room for the other stuff. Maybe you've experienced this a little bit if you've ever felt in the zone or like flow state, it's called sometimes. Athletes feel this a lot, but maybe you're working at something at work really diligently, a project. You lose track of time, forget to eat lunch. Those noises in the office, they bother you. It's like they're not there. They're still there, but it's as if they've faded. So this is the phenomenon that we're going to start to practice doing so we can start to do it intentionally. Cool? Sound good? So from a pure like instructional standpoint, breathing meditation is pretty straightforward. We're going to really go through 3 steps. First is we're going to choose to focus single pointedly on our breath. And I know that sounds like a weird step. You're like, yeah, of course I'm doing that. Right? But this is good practice because we had sometimes we'll get into the zone or flow state, but it's kind of not on purpose. It just kind of happens. So we want to start to bring some intention to training our mind in this way. So we're just going to kind of make a promise to ourselves. I'm going to say, I'm going to focus on my breath, and that's it for the next couple of minutes here. Right? So we're making that choice. And then while we're doing that, whatever we notice our mind's kind of drifting, and it will, it's not a big deal. Your mind thinks about other stuff. What do you got to do after this class ends or whatnot? Whenever we catch our mind doing that, we're just going to be like, not right now. That's kind of our little saying here. Not right now to those thoughts. We're not saying they're bad. We're not saying they're useless. We're not saying they're not important or whatever. We're saying just not right now. Right? We're kind of telling our mind, hey, I'm in charge. And then we're going to bring our attention back to breathing. So we choose to focus on our breath. We notice when our attention drifts, and then we bring our attention back. And in that loop, you do over and over again throughout this kind of 5-minute or whatever breathing meditation we'll do. And then over time, you'll be able to stay on your breath a little longer. You're going to start to settle in, right? The more focused you are on your breath, the less room there is for all the busy stuff. Okay. This is sometimes called pacifying your mind. So if you hear that, that's what it means. Cool. All right. So let's do some breathing meditation together. Now, if you're new, maybe you've Googled meditation. You're like, well, what is this meditation thing? And then you see a bunch of people sitting on the floor. You don't have to do that. You can sit in a chair. You can lay down. You can do whatever you want. It's not like, oh, if I don't sit on the floor, it doesn't work. It's not like that. So just get comfy, right? Chair. If you'd like sitting on the floor, go ahead. Brenda, yeah, I think not right now is good, right? We're not judging ourselves for having our mind drift. We're like, hey, not right now. So get comfy. You can go ahead and close your eyes, and I'm going to guide us through about probably like a 5-minute breathing meditation together. Okay. Whenever we start a meditation, take a moment and check in. Ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? In this exact moment. We're not thinking about earlier, just now. How do we feel now? Maybe you're feeling tired. You've had a long day. Maybe you're feeling energetic. Whatever it is, whatever you're feeling, it's perfectly fine. We're not doing anything about it. We're just practicing noticing. We're noticing what our mind is up to. This is an exercise in mindfulness, a word you've probably heard before. Mindfulness is an active awareness of your own thoughts moment to moment for the purpose of being able to respond in a skillful manner to those thoughts. So just take a moment and check in. And having done that, you can now make a choice. You can choose to focus single pointedly, exclusively on your breath. Breathing in and out very gently and very naturally. You do not need to take big, deep breaths or forcefully exhale. However you normally breathe, just do that. In and out. And allow yourself to relax a little bit into your chair. Breathing in and out very gently and very naturally. Following each moment of your breath as the air enters and exits. At some point, you'll notice your mind drifting. Maybe you're thinking about something that happened earlier today. Or maybe you're thinking about something that you have to do later. Whenever we notice our mind doing this, we can just say, not right now. We'll get to those thoughts later. And then guide your attention back to your breath. Back to breathing in and out, gently and naturally. Single-pointedly focused on each moment of your breath. See if you can follow the entire journey that the air makes every time you breathe. When you inhale, the air enters your body, fills your lungs with life. And then you follow that air as it exits, dissipating back into the atmosphere from where it started. A moment-to-moment interest, a fascination in breathing in and breathing out gently, naturally, as you begin to relax even more into your chair or cushion. Keep bringing your attention back to your breath whenever you notice it drifting. This process of choosing to focus single-pointedly on your breath, noticing when your attention drifts, and being able to guide your attention back to breathing, that is meditation. You are meditating right now. You are training your mind to be calm, to access its natural, peaceful state. You are training your mind to focus on what you want to focus on. And right now, the only thing you're focusing on is breathing in and breathing out, very gently and very naturally. So for the last few moments here, just enjoy sitting, breathing. That's it. Okay. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Hello. How'd that go? That's a pretty like straightforward breathing meditation. Nothing fancy. And like I said, it's a pretty simple 3-step process. Now, in practice, it might not be so simple, right? We're like, man, my mind is all over the place. And if you're just starting out, sometimes it can be like, man, I guess that didn't go well. My mind was like all over, constantly being distracted and whatnot. But this is a really important part of meditation, is that there's no like good or bad outcome of meditation. We're practicing. You're doing when's the last time you did this? Like, we don't sit down and focus on our breath intentionally ever. We just kind of go throughout the day, and our mind thinks, and we do, and then we're exhausted. So we're trying something new, and it's going to take some time for that to kind of normalize, right? But the goal here, like when you're meditating, the goal is not to never get distracted. The goal is to start to become more adept at noticing when you are distracted, right? Because if we can't notice we're distracted, we can't do anything about it, right? If we can't notice that we're anxious early on, that anxiety kind of spreads, gets harder to manage. If we can't notice that we're, getting angry early on in the process of frustration, well, then what happens is like we boil over, right? So this idea of starting to notice where our mind is at any given moment, and practice being able to kind of pull it in a direction that we want it to be, is amazing, right? And this is meditation. That's the practice. And we can see how it would translate into other aspects of our life, right? Jessica, you brought up like having some like trauma, right? So, a lot of times we're fixating on that. I got into meditation for like clinical depression and anxiety, right? And those types of things, like, you think about them, you like can't be elsewhere. You're like trapped in that area, right? Our mind is like trapped there. And so by doing these exercises, we're starting to teach our mind to like go where we want it to go, right? Instead of where it wants to go. Doesn't mean you're never going to get stressed out. And it doesn't mean you're never going to be upset about something, right? These are natural emotions, that we go through in our life. It's totally normal and healthy. But we want to do it on your terms, right? Like, do we want to think about that thing that was bothering us 3 years ago? Do we want to think about the project we have to do tomorrow? Right? Choice. So, this is a first step into training yourself to be able to make those kind of like choices of where your mind is, right? Cool. So, that was a pretty straightforward breathing meditation. And today, I want to look at 2 other types of breathing meditation. Jessica, this is very good for ADHD. Very, very good. Mindfulness meditation, extremely good for that. But it is a slow burn. Like you got to realize that, sometimes I know we want like, I want to get this fixed now. I don't want to be anxious. I don't want to be anxious ever again. We're starting right now. And at first, when I first started meditation, I was like, oh, it's not working, not working. But it was a slow burn. It took some time, and it has done wonders for me. So I encourage you to stick with it. And if you're just getting started, I have a lot of good tips to help you like kind of build a routine that's going to be successful for you. So if you are just getting started, feel free to email me. Again, I'll give you my email towards the end of the class, and I can share some of those tips with you. Cool. All right. So we did a breathing meditation. That's cool. And, that style of breathing meditation, I don't know what we'll call it. We'll call it traditional. I don't It's great. I love it. I've learned to love it. A lot of people love it. Not everyone though, you know. Sometimes, and we sit down and you know, you're like, okay, I'm gonna focus on my breath, and then like instantaneously, your mind's like, huh, what? No, it's like moving away, right? Because it can sometimes be a little abstract, right? You know, I'm gonna sit down and just kind of pay attention to my breath, you know, like, we're not like, sometimes we're really task oriented, you know, if you like lists and stuff, you know, have your day planned, boop, 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 boop. Sometimes we can struggle with this type of breathing meditation, you know? And so if we, you know, are learning this and that's the style that we taught and maybe we struggle with it, we're gonna be like, well, I'm not good at it. And we give up. But there is no one way to meditate. The only thing that is required for something to be meditation is that you're choosing to focus on one thing exclusively. You're noticing when your attention drifts, bringing it back, right? So we just did focusing on our breath and how it feels, right? But there's other ways that we can meditate. And so today we're going to look at two other types of breathing meditation that maybe will click with you. If this first one really didn't. And then I think maybe next week what I'll do is I'll dovetail this into one of my favorite classes, and that's looking at ways of meditating that is not sitting down with your eyes closed breathing, right? We can meditate doing anything, brushing our teeth, showering, walking, there's like infinite possibilities. And if you have a very busy life, you don't have a lot of time to yourself, that might be a better avenue for you to take to try to build a meditation routine. So I think next week this will be a good segue into that, right? Cool. All right. So we're going to look at two different types of meditation besides what we just did, right? And the first one is called counting meditation. Now, if you are a type of person who is very task-oriented, or you know you like to know exactly what I'm doing this time at this moment and the next moment, or I find this is really helpful if you have a very anxious mind, maybe you're having some anxiety. Counting meditation is a variant of breathing meditation that is really good for those circumstances. So what is it? Instead of just kind of like breathing and focusing on our breath, we're going to give our mind a job. You know, our mind likes to have jobs, thinks a lot, you know. And so we're going to give our mind a job, and our mind's job is every time we breathe in and out, we're going to count. So in and out, 1. In and out, 2. That's it. We're counting, right? And so we're going to count our breaths. And anytime you notice that you've lost count, or like, you know, your mind like drifted a little bit, you're like, man, was it 3, 4? Like whatever. As soon as you realize that, you're like, I lost count. And then we're going to start again at 1, right? So it's the exact same thing that we just did. We're choosing to focus on something single-pointedly. In the thing we just did, it was just our breath and how that feels. Now it's counting. And we're going to notice when our mind drifts away from counting, and then we're going to bring our attention back to counting. It's the exact same process. It is training and meditation. It's not any better or worse than the first kind of traditional style that we did. This is just, some people like counting meditation, you know? So I figured, let's try it. Maybe you'll be like, hey, that was actually easier for me. We'll be like, I don't like that. It's too many jobs. You know, we're going to find something that works for you, right? Jessica, I have to tell my brain that meditating is not a task. It is practice. Yes. Brilliant. And also like finding some joy in this, you know? Joy is like a hidden secret sauce to effort. Joy leads to natural effort, right? If we enjoy doing something, we want to do it. We're going to do it, you know? If we don't enjoy something, it's going to be a hurdle to get over. So starting to view meditation as like kind of like a fun little time where we can just spend 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, whatever, just, focusing on our breath, and whatever happens, right? That's like a really good kind of outlook on meditation. Great. Yeah. Heather, yes. So a lot of times when you're starting to meditate, look, we're all here for a reason, right? Whether we're having anxiety, we're, had trauma, we're trying to relax, we're super stressed, like we're coming here for a reason, right? And so we want to practice meditation when we're struggling. We're like, oh, I'm super anxious right now, I'm going to meditate, right? And that's good, and that can work wonders. But when we're just learning how to meditate, it is infinitely harder to do it when we're kind of in the throes of our crisis. Yeah. And so this is why practicing every day is really important, right? Even when you're feeling great, you should practice meditating, for 2 minutes a day or whatever. It doesn't matter how long, whatever you can commit to. That way we're starting to build a normalcy here, and then it'll be easier for us to use it in times where we're struggling. But yeah, I mean, if we're super anxious, remember I always describe anxiety as like the fire spreading, right? If the fire spreads, it's gonna get hard to put it out, right? So we're gonna try to catch it a little earlier on when it's not so huge. So yeah, that is one of the hardest things to kind of kind of hardest hurdle to get over is the inclination to only do this when we're not feeling well, as opposed to practicing it independent of how we're feeling. Okay. So let's do some counting meditation. And again, this is going to be pretty similar, right? It's literally the same thing that we just did, except we're going to count our breaths, right? Now, you don't need to count out loud. I don't know. Maybe you're in a house with other people. They hear you counting. They're going to be like, what are you doing in there? Yeah, you don't have to do that. If you want to count out loud, go ahead. It doesn't matter. You just count in your head or whatever. Do whatever you want. So you can go ahead and close your eyes, and I'm going to guide us through another short, won't be more than a couple minutes, breathing meditation in this counting style. Okay. Once again, just take a moment and check in with yourself. How are you feeling right now? We're not comparing it to before. Before is done. Just now. Maybe we're feeling tired. Maybe we're feeling energetic. Maybe we're happy. Maybe we're sad. Doesn't matter. We are just practicing, noticing, or flexing our mindfulness muscles. Practicing, training our mind to notice emotions and notice feelings. Having checked in, you can now once again turn your full undivided attention to your breath. We're breathing in and we're breathing out very gently and very naturally. Only this time, we're going to give our mind a very specific job. Our mind's job is to count our breaths. So every time you breathe in and out, we'll count 1. In and out, 2. Just keep counting each cycle of your breath. That's it. Don't focus on anything else but counting. Maybe at some point you forget what number you're on, or you're starting to think about work or something you have to do. Whenever that happens, we can just very gently say, not right now to those thoughts. We'll get to them later. And then we're going to start our count over at 1. In and out. Gently, naturally. Check in with yourself again. Maybe you've drifted a bit or lost count. No big deal. Doesn't matter. We can just start again at 1. In and out. Gently and naturally. It does not matter how many times you need to restart your count. The goal is to not reach some high number. The goal is to just notice whenever your mind drifts, and then get it back on task. In and out. 1. In and out. 2. Okay, when you're ready, you can open your eyes. You can stop counting. So, that's counting meditation. It's literally the same thing. We're, instead of just kind of focusing on how our breath feels, we gave our mind a job. We're counting our breaths. It's the same concept, though. That's the takeaway from today. Meditation is focusing on one thing, noticing when your attention drifts from that thing, bringing your attention back. So a lot of people really love counting meditation. It seems a little more clear, less abstract, right? Everyone has different kind of learning style. And so I encourage you to try, counting meditation and also the other one we did, and be like, which one seems to connect with me more? It doesn't matter. Just pick the one that's easier for you or connects with you and start with that one, right? We'll kind of hone our skills in that one, and then maybe we'll explore doing some others, right? All of them are equally as good, right? Equally as beneficial. Cool. So we talked about like kind of traditional or like feeling-based breathing meditation. And we talked about counting meditation, which is really good if we're feeling very anxious or we're very task oriented. It's a very good one to do. And then the third and final one we'll do today together is I call it like visual, right? We're gonna use imagery, right? We're gonna kind of do breathing meditation with a little added imagery there. So this is often taught with like visualizing your breath as exhaling dark smoke and inhaling white light, right? You can visualize whatever you want, but we're placing an image on our breath. And some people really like this because they get really into it. It's like we're using our imagination. We're like totally there. We're like visualizing it. We get like totally lost in this thought. Which is great, right? So this is great if you're a type person who is like a visual learner, or I love a bit of a dreamer, like using your imagination, or maybe you're like, counting my breaths is boring, right? I don't know. Well, maybe you think it's boring. This is a good one. It's a little bit less rigid, but a little bit more like free, but it's great in its own right, right? So we're gonna try this, and like, look, if this doesn't work for you, don't doesn't matter, like the goal here is to find which style is kind of connecting the most, right? It's not like, oh, I'm no good at visual meditation, I'm not going to be a good meditator. No, it doesn't mean that at all. It doesn't matter. These are just different styles to try to help people find what works for them. All right. So we're going to do this kind of like visual breathing meditation, and I am going to do the kind of like smoke visualization. And so this time when we breathe, every time we breathe in, right, we're going to like breathe in white light, and then every time we breathe out, we exhale, we're going to like imagine, like really like use your imagination. We're going to really imagine like that we're breathing out like a dark smoke. Right. And that's all of our stress, all of our anxieties, our worries. It's all in this dark smoke, and we're breathing it out. Right. And then when we inhale, we're breathing in warmth and white light, like all that happy stuff, all the joy that we want. We're breathing it in. Right. That's the visualization we're going to do. And then whenever you catch yourself not thinking about that, you're thinking about, oh my gosh, my boss is, making me do this thing. As soon as we have those thoughts, we're like, hey, all right, I'll think about that later. I got to do the dark smoke, white light thing. And we're going to bring our attention back. Same thing. It's meditation. It's the exact same thing, just a different style, right? This is, if you want to get technical about it, we are changing the object of our meditation. Right? So in our first meditation, the object of our meditation was our breath and how our breath feels. And in our second meditation, the object of our meditation was counting. And then in our third one, it's going to be this visualization. Cool? Okay. So for the third and final time, get nice and comfy in your chair or cushion or hammock. I don't know. I wonder if anyone's in a hammock. Jealous. And you can go ahead and close your eyes. I'm going to guide us through a visual breathing meditation. Okay. Just as before, let's check in. How are you feeling now, in this moment? Just noticing. Not trying to do anything about it, just noticing what your mind is up to. Is it busy? Is it still? Is it filled with thoughts or feeling kind of drained? Or just noticing? And having checked in, you can now turn your attention again to your breath. Breathing in, breathing out, very gently and very naturally. And to help us really get plugged into our breath, to be there with our breath, it can sometimes be helpful to place some imagery on our breath. And so as you're breathing, I want you to imagine this. Every time you breathe out, I want you to visualize that you're breathing out dark smoke. All of your stress, all of your worries, all of the things pulling for your attention, they are wrapped up in this dark smoke, and you are breathing them out every time you exhale. Just imagine it. breathing out dark smoke. Really visualize it. Watch the smoke dissipate into the air, completely evaporating. And in addition to breathing out dark smoke, every time you inhale, I want you to imagine that you are breathing in a white light, whatever that looks like for you, whatever comes to mind. Warmth, sunshine, vibrance. We're breathing that in. All of the joy, happiness that we want for ourselves, for our loved ones, we're breathing it in with each in-breath. Just imagine it. Feel the warmth it provides growing as you take air from the atmosphere into your body in the form of white light, warmth, joy. And so now these two imageries are working in tandem. Every time you breathe in, we're imagining that white light, that warmth entering our body. And then when we breathe out, we are letting go of all of our stress in the form of dark smoke. We're breathing in white light. We are breathing out dark smoke. That's it. Just imagine it. And if you get distracted, no big deal. We can just put those thoughts aside for now. Bring your attention back to breathing in that warm white light and breathing out dark smoke. And finally, I want you to imagine that every time you're doing this cycle of breathing, we're breathing in white light, breathing out dark smoke. Every time we do it, there's less and less dark smoke as we exhale. What may have started as thick, dark gray smoke is getting thinner each time we breathe. It lessens still, becoming just wisps of gray. Feel ourselves feeling light, happy. There's no more dark smoke to breathe out. Just warmth, joy. No stress. Just you sitting here, relaxing. Just sit with that. Okay, when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So a little bit more elaborate, but essentially the same thing, right? We're focusing on breathing, in white light, breathing out dark smoke, and then when we notice our mind drifting, we're bringing it back to that, right? I really like the visual stuff. I think it's kind of cool, and you can get really creative with it. So if you're, the creative type, might be a good one for you to try. I found that it can help make it feel fun, right? We talked a little bit about that earlier, how like it's really helpful to view this time meditating as not like a chore, but fun, like we're practicing, we're fun, it's fun. So I personally have found this to be really good for that. But again, all the three ones that we went over. So again, the first one we did was like very traditional. We're just focusing on how our breath feels as it moves in and out of our nose or whatever. The second one, we were counting our breaths, right? Third one, visual. Doesn't matter which one you do, all right? So you can try a bunch of try all of them, one day do this, one day do that. And then eventually you're going to be like, yeah, you know what? The counting is just working for me. There's no way around it. The counting is just working for me. That's what I'm going to do. Good, amazing, great. Go with that. Or maybe it's the visualization one. Like, cool, go with that. Finding what works for you and not trying to like fit into someone else's program is really important here, right? So that is true for the style of meditation. It's true for how long you meditate. Like, don't worry about how long you meditate. Be honest with yourself. Maybe you got 30 seconds in your car before you walk back into your house after work. Awesome. Amazing. That's your spot. Do it for 30 seconds. Don't like try to like compare yourself to like other, so-and-so meditates for an hour, like it doesn't matter. Consistency is all we're looking for here. Cool. So that's it for today. Hopefully you found that to be interesting or relaxing or whatnot. If you did, I encourage you to come back. And next week we'll do something else, meditation related. I think, like I said, next week, I think what I'm going to plan to do is talking about ways to meditate that is not like breathing meditation, like not sitting down with your eyes closed. Right? You might be like, oh, I thought you had to do that. Well, no, you don't. There's a lot of different things we can do to bring our meditation practice into the tasks that we are already doing in our life. So I think we'll focus on that next week. And thank you to anyone who subscribed during the stream. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel and you would like to, that'd be awesome. It makes me super happy, very helpful for me and all that. Costs you nothing, and you get access to all my old videos. So maybe you want to go check out something on anxiety. You also get notified when I'm going live. So when we inevitably forget, like, oh, it's Wednesday, it's time to hang out with Keith. Not like I'm sure that's not on your top priority list. But you get little notifications. And then if finally, if you're like, you know what, this is really cool, I would like to see where this could, take me, what meditation can do. I do offer one-on-one instruction. It's a really good way of focusing on something that's pertinent to your life. Maybe you already got a breathing meditation routine down that works for you, and you want to like focus on gratitude for yourself or something like that, or self-image. We can focus on that together one-on-one. I do them over Zoom. It's very casual, very laid back. So if that sounds interesting to you, you can just email me and we'll find a time to get together. My email is keith@meditationbreaks.com. I will type it. Oops, two misspellings. Okay, I fixed it. All right, that's my email. Email me if you're interested in doing a one-on-one, or if you have any questions about any of the things we talked about today, or, something comes up when you're trying to meditate on your own, just, feel free to email me at any time. Love to hear from you. All right. Heather, good luck this week. Keep practicing and just be patient with yourself. Right. Jessica, thank you so much for being here. Patricia, thank you. Shelly, thank you. Very, very kind of you. I'm glad that you're enjoying the variety. Martha, thank you. Rosa, thank you as always. Everyone, big thank you for being here. I love teaching. I couldn't do it without you guys. Thanks for taking time out of your day to spend a little time with me and learn something new. All right. So have a wonderful evening, a wonderful week, and I will see you all next Wednesday.